Hello and welcome to another episode of FPL Journey to 10K, the series and podcast and YouTube channel that helps you understand what it takes to finish in that top 10,000. And yes, we'll tell you all about the stats, the form, and the fixtures, but it's really that secret weapon that we've got that helps us to get there. That, of course, is the guidance and the mentorship of one of the best players to ever play the game, my co host, Mr. Matt Cormich. Matt, how's your week been?
Hello, hello, hello. Yeah, pretty good. FPL has been I was gonna say average, but that would be overestimating the kind of week. But yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I think I'm learning a lot about FPL. I'm
Oh, yeah,
it's,
still?
it's been a bit of a humbling experience, but we always say a lot of it's down to luck. It's just a series of coin flips, and yeah, I'm experiencing it this year. So yeah, new experience,
Yeah,
but yeah, I'm learning as I'm going on. But yeah, you must be feeling good off a great game week,
not
right?
bad. Not a bad week, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, Overall, we'll come on to it, but yeah, I've had a fairly decent week. Some of the players that I've had for a few weeks that haven't really done anything finally delivered. One in particular, which we'll come on to. Um, but it's good to know. You played for eight seasons, and obviously your finishes of you kind of touch on this most weeks. Never finished below 22,000. So it's cool that you're still learning things.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I've never been to finish like I used to think actually finishing those high ranks, a lot of it was down to skill. But what I'm learning is that it's a bit of a combination of just putting yourself in the position to get lucky, right? And this year I've been on the receiving end of a lot of bad luck, right? A lot of bad luck,
Yeah,
I think. And like, yeah, this week was a great example of that with me getting rid of Gordon for kind of Eze. And yeah, you might say bad decision. I don't think it was a bad decision with the info we had, but yeah, kind of like a bit of a brutal outcome. So yeah, like I think yeah, for hopefully the rest of the year and like in future seasons, I'll just be a quite kind of like cool and calm around the decisions, right? Like yeah, you put yourself in a good position, but then it's down to luck, really. So I've had a good run.
yeah.
I've been on the
Well,
receiving end of good luck, yeah.
we'll touch on it because I appreciate it's going to come up. So you've already touched on it, so we may as well start showing how last week went. Um, and yeah, 45 points here. So yeah, talk us through it.
Yeah, so 5.6 mil game week rank, 45 points. A red arrow from 2.2 million to 2.3 million. That's pretty poor, given how poor my over rank is. So yeah, I guess the story behind this, I'll talk about some of the kind of positives. So double Arsenal defense, best defense. I think we both, I think, rightly have predicted that Arsenal going into this run are going to have the most clean sheets. They're the best defense statistically. So yeah, nice to see them get that double kind of clean sheet. So yeah, happy with Gabriel and Saliba. Cash didn't get anything, but it is what it is. And Boomer, I think it was again. He was threatening, right? So it's kind of I'm happy that I've got him, but he kind of blanked. Some blanks, but yeah, obviously kind of famously he had three offside goals, some of them pretty narrow. I think he looked pretty good. Salah got a return, Watkins got a return, Darwin was unlucky, but yeah, Haaland scored. So yeah, it's all good. But like, yeah, my week was really defined by bringing in Eze for 1 point and around 45 minutes before he got injured away to Luton. I brought him in for Gordon, who got a 13-point haul, and he's now the darling of FPL, right? So lo and behold, he gets a double digit return, and now he's suddenly an awesome option. Like kind of like spoiler, he's always been a pretty good option. But yeah, that was a tough one. I mean, people may criticize that move. I think looking at it myself, it was definitely a luxury transfer. It was definitely a short
Mm.
term pick. I thought Eze would outscore Gordon over the next 3 game weeks. I think with the info I had, that was a decent punt. I think if you look at betting odds, if you look at predicted points, all of those would suggest that Eze would outscore Gordon over the next couple. So yeah, maybe I made a bad decision. I didn't predict Eze was going to get injured, and I didn't predict that Newcastle were going to absolutely hammer Chelsea. So yeah, I think
It's tough, though,
it
isn't
was a
it?
decent punt. Obviously, brutal
Yeah.
outcomes there. But yeah, that's probably been the most frustrating decision move I made this year. So there's been a lot of like unlucky stuff, but that was just like pretty tough. But I'm at the stage where I'm just
And,
laughing. So yeah, what can you
yeah.
do?
I mean, yeah, I'm with you. I think the fixtures, Eze had better fixtures than Gordon, no question about it. Yeah, the injury is obviously is bad luck because you can't call that at all. And then unfortunately, Gordon puts in a cross that Lascelles happened. Lascelles doesn't exactly score lots of goals, so
Yeah.
he's got an assist from a defender, and then scored a pretty special goal at the end. So I
Mm.
think he's been unlucky.
No, I think his expected goal involvement was like 0.3, so he got fortunate to get 2 returns from there. So I'll be philosophical about it, but there's definitely psychology, right? So I think I did force that move. I didn't have to make that move, and I could have like rolled it and had 2 free transfers going into game week 14. I think it feels worse when you lose points, right? When you've made a move and you're losing points, that feels worse than it feels good bringing in points. Do you know what I mean? So there's definitely psychology at play here that kind of encourages that. Hey, being a little bit more cautious is good for your own sanity. But yeah, 45
Yeah,
points. The positive there is that I haven't plummeted down the ranks. I'm still at a very
yeah,
poor rank, but I didn't. It wasn't a huge red arrow, so it's good. But enough about me, right? So I'm not going to bring the mood down. But like, look at you, 70
yeah.
points, sub
It
100k
was all
game
right,
week
wasn't it?
rank. Wow.
Not bad, not bad. I'll take it. It's all right, average. But I've pulled off a stormer in the end, and similar to you, defense is very similar. So Gabriel Saliba, good to see that double Arsenal
Yeah.
defense paying off. Hopefully they'll continue to do so in the weeks to come, as long as Gabriel keeps his place and doesn't get rested. Areola frustrating again. The guy doesn't keep clean sheets, but got a bonus point, a save point even. So nice to see him
Yeah.
on 3 rather than the obligatory 2 that he always gets. And I just fancied. I was looking at the defenders I've got. I mean, Taylor's never really going to play, is he? But compared to Cash and Lascelles, and I just thought Newcastle's defence is really good. They want to bounce back after the Bournemouth defeat, so I plumped for Lascelles over Cash, and that paid off. Lascelles got a goal, so picked up 7 for him, which was good. And then the midfield, Son as well, and Salah, same as you, so 2 points and 5 points. Should say I got lucky with Saka, 89th minute, or was it 91st minute? Right at the death, he got an assist.
Yeah.
And then because of that assist, got 2 bonus points. So with a very late goal in that game, that's a 5-point swing in my favour. And Gibbs White finally delivering a big haul. Now, I give Kyrie, one of our fans, one of our listeners, a bit of stick for the Kyrie shout, for the Gibbs White shout, should I say. Kyrie, you're an absolute genius, mate. What a decision he is. So he pulled in an assist, and then you said the penalties will come. He's the penalty taker. A penalty did come. He took the penalty and he got the goal. So, goal and assist and
Mhm.
2 bonus points for him. And then up front, Haaland captain. As a Liverpool fan, wasn't happy to see him score, but softens the pain slightly
Mhm.
when he's your captain on FPL. Watkins got a goal. Shame about the booking, and then Solanke. And I felt a bit hard done by with Solanke. I thought he might get a return. As he adds an expected goal involvement of 0.65 in that game.
Yeah, he looked
So
good.
I feel
He looked
like
good.
he looked decent. So I was a bit, got lucky with Saka, but I feel a bit unlucky with Solanke. But overall, big green jumped from 1.53 million to just outside of the top 750,000. So yeah,
No, that's
754,000 is my overall rank. So
massive.
climbing.
That's huge. That's a huge boost, and you're in a decent spot now, like going into the December and Christmas period. But like 97, like a game week rank of 97k, sub 100k game week rank. That might be the best game week rank of the year, right? So that's a huge boost, and like you've got differentials there that have come throughout the team. I'm happy with Gibbs White because we were giving you stick about it, but we were saying stay the course because he's quite attacking. He's on penalties, right, and he's come through, right.
Yeah.
So I think that's something. He was a player that you've been frustrated with, but you've kind of persevered. I think last year you would have hitted him out right? So
100%.
I mean, like I'm glad that he's come through for you. Saka's a really interesting one, right? So Saka is actually, I'm looking at the FPL site now. So he's the 5th top scoring midfield. No, out of all players, he's got 79 points. So he's only Salah, Haaland, Watkins, and Son are ahead of him. Yet I think he's been pretty fortunate with his return. So obviously going into this run, I think he was a really good pick, and I really wanted him. And fair play for everyone who picked it. I get the logic, but his performances have been pretty poor. So I think he's been lucky to get the returns he's had. So like, shall I read you according to the FPL site his expected goals the last couple of games? So
Yeah.
Brentford expected goals 0. Burnley expected goals 0.15. Newcastle expected goals 0.02. Sheffield United expected goals 0. Chelsea expected goals 0. So that's his last 5 game weeks, right?
Yeah.
So cumulatively, he's got what? Expected goals, not goal involvement, because he's been doing okay from an assist point of view. But expected goal involvement in the last 5 game weeks, 0.17.
Expected
That's
goals,
crazy,
yeah.
isn't it? I
That's,
mean, what's happening to like Arsenal like attack? Is it just Jesus being out, or is there something deeper there?
that's well, he's back now, isn't he, Jesus? But
Yeah.
so maybe you'll see some changes with it. But well, he hasn't scored in the last 5. Saka, he's got 4 assists. So he's ticked over, but he's not been like an explosive. I'd like to have seen at least 1 or 2 double digits in that run that they had, but yeah, it didn't come. He's I think there's been a 6, a 5, an 8, another 6. So he's ticked over, as I say. But
You should take that.
I'd like.
He's been fortunate. You've been fortunate with that.
I'm not. I'm
Not that
not
I'm
in love
jealous.
with having him.
I'm jealous. I'm jealous. Well, no, congrats on
But Gib,
the game on that score. You're looking good. I think there's
yeah,
hope for you at least.
I'll be keeping Gibbs White for another until at least game week 19 when they change. He's got Everton, then Fulham, Wolves away, Spurs at home, and then Bournemouth in that blank game week 18. He's a home to Bournemouth. And I
Yeah,
was
you got to keep him for that. Keep him.
I'll keep him for that run. And I noted as well that Hudson Odoi is back. So I'm wondering whether what we're seeing Steve Clark play sometimes is Alanga one wing, Hudson Odoi the other, Gibbs White through the middle. I mean, that would be a dream come true for me if I've got him in the midfield and he's playing through the middle. So
Well,
time will tell.
that's the cliche, isn't it? Pacey wingers, isn't it? They bring penalties, so
Yeah,
yeah, you can just like eat them out, eat them up.
exactly that. So
But
we'll see how he gets
honestly, like,
on.
a lot of really good players have got Gibbs White as well. So you're not the only one who's kind of brought him in for the fixtures and is like nailed in some pens. There's some people who've got like seriously like really impressive records, probably better than mine, who've got Gibbs White as well. So you're not the only one. So yeah.
We just point out there's only 4 people that have a better record than you prior to this season. So unless Fabio's pulled him in, there can't be many.
That's all history now, though, isn't it? That's all history.
But we've touched on a few of the talking points already. That you mentioned straight off the bat, Saka is struggling from an attacking point of view. Arsenal do what they do defensively, but just to read, so this is all season in all fairness, not the last 5 games, but the Arsenal attack. So expected goals per 90, their best player is Jesus with 0.47. Saka's 0.36 for the season. Odegaard's 0.28 despite his penalties. Yeah, so I'm with you. I don't think Arsenal's attack's been all that. I think that there was a stat showed Jamie Carragher was shown on something on Sky Sports about Arsenal's attack last season compared to this season. And yeah, the numbers have dropped massively. My cat's about to come and say hello here, by the way. You might see that I'm in the kitchen because my flat's getting decorated. So just just 1 second. Just put air on the floor. I'm back to it. So Saka, yeah, he's not been he's not been all that.
Such a professional. Look at that.
But his expected goal involvement for the season's been this is per 90, by the way. It's been 0.69. So it's not horrendous, but yeah, it's for one of the more expensive midfield options. He's not drilling in the numbers that maybe he was last season. So
No,
I agree. I
but
think he's been lucky.
Yeah, those assist numbers are good though. But like, yeah, but yeah, the defense is seriously impressive. Seriously impressive. Like, I would love to triple up on that defense at the moment. I think they're
Yeah.
by some
Would
margin the best defense in the league. So
you've only got two, haven't you?
I've got two, yes,
Two
Saliba and
Arsenal
Gabriel.
players.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you could bring in a Zinchenko or a White.
yeah. White is he's very expensive for what he offers. So he's 5.7, I think, at the moment, and Zinchenko, I think, is 4.8, but he's got that potential rotation kind of like risk. I mean, Raya could be nice. Raya could be an interesting option if I found the funds to get finally get rid of. I'd probably keep Ariota. I'd probably get rid of
Yeah.
Tchaikovsky in my team. But like, yeah, Raya would be nice. But yeah, defensively they look great, don't they?
Yeah, and I don't think Raya, if I'm not mistaken, it's 4.9. So it's
Mm,
it's
it's
affordable.
not cheap, is it? Yeah, not cheap.
Yeah, it's not horrendous. It's not like he's a Pope or an Allison level price, Um, and he's in front of arguably the best defense in the league,
Yeah,
maybe behind City. Uh, United. So there's a lot of stick for United this season, and don't get me wrong, I can see why they've had
mm,
stick, and a lot of us, me and you, went with Fernandez, we went with Rashford,
yeah,
and they just didn't really deliver what we wanted them to. And then you look at the Premier League table; they're only 5 points behind City. They're only 6 points off the top. The one that I think, are they still top of the form table? They were very recently. They seem to be winning games. Their defense points, Dallo especially, has been bringing in even attacking returns and bonus points.
yeah.
Would you be tempted to go back towards United?
Yeah, I think so. You got to keep an open mind, right? So I think there's a lot, like we said it early in the year. There's a lot of hype because they're the best support of the team. There's just always like, if they're doing good, it's exaggerated. If they're doing not so good, it's really exaggerated, right? So you got to be quite balanced. But like, yeah, they're grinding out results and looking. But obviously, I'm a big fan of the underlying stats. So I'll caveat they're grinding out results and looking okay. Onana, Dallo have been really good. Like Fernandez is always a good pick. Like people who have Fernandez have right to be annoyed that he just was being extra generous. He got a bit of the Saka style
Yeah.
feels and gave a penalty to kind of Rashford. But statistically, Everton should have won that game, right? So I think you've got to balance it out.
Yeah.
But statistically, they're getting a bit lucky, right? So they are grinding out results and just about getting it. So would I go there now? No. If they had a really beautiful fixture run, would I go for some of their well-priced kind of assets? Yeah, of course. Got to keep an open mind.
Yeah.
So they've been okay, not fantastic. Yeah, I was going to say like, yeah, they've been really good. They've been grinding out results, but I know statistically they've been quite lucky the last couple of games. They have been.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at their fixtures, and it is not pretty reading. So they've got Newcastle this weekend away, which isn't great. Chelsea after that, who are doing well. Okay, then they've got Bournemouth at home, but then it's followed up by a trip to Anfield and then away at West Ham, at home to Villa.
Mm,
So in that
yeah,
next six, apart from the home to Bournemouth game, you wouldn't be surprised if they lost five out of the next six. Tough
no, I
fixtures.
agree. I agree. Yeah,
Yeah. And then just to bring a topic back from last time, we spoke about Son's expected goals in that one game that he played against Wolves without Madison. He's now played
yeah,
a second game, so we wanted to relook at those stats. So I'll give you the stats for the Villa game. Expected goals 0.13. Now he did score three offside goals, so we'll come on to that. But 0.13 expected goals. Expected assists 0.55.
yeah.
So
That's solid. Yeah,
he's, the stats are decent.
yeah. Well, he looked decent as well. So like, obviously, we knew that Villa play the highest line in Europe, right? And and it worked. That's why Spurs had all these offside goals, right? An offside. It's weird how people say, "Oh, he's got offside goal. It means he's good. He was offside." Like, so, they were nice finishes, but like he was offside, so we knew that was going to happen. But like Spurs looked okay. They looked against a good team. They did look quite threatening. So, I mean, yeah, I'm kind of cool having Son and keeping him. I'd love loads of people to jump off him. Like, do you know what I mean? He's blanked for 3 game weeks and we know how reactive people can be. I think it wouldn't have been a stretch of the imagination for Son to have come up with 21 points against Villa, right? He was looking very threatening, and Spurs were looking okay against good teams. So Son done without Madison, no. I'm quite happy keeping him. And also your next point leads that West Ham and Villa don't keep a clean sheet. Yeah, Villa, like they're especially away from home, they're like super open, and same with West Ham really as well. So I'm not surprised there, but I'll take Areola's save point. 3 feels like a haul for me.
Took a 3.
Yeah.
And hopefully Areola, he's got Palace at home this weekend, who will not have Eze, who obviously makes a lot of things tick for them. He's then away at Spurs, but then he's got Fulham and Wolves, so there's opportunities. Whereas Villa, okay, they've got Bournemouth this weekend, but then they've got City, Arsenal, and then Brentford away. So I don't foresee any, apart from maybe this weekend away at Bournemouth. But Bournemouth aren't a bad side, attack and wise at home. So yeah, I don't really see where the clean sheets for Villa are coming from. West Ham, there's an opportunity, but
Yeah, agree.
I've thought this for weeks, having a defender from one and a goalkeeper from another, and I can't remember the last time any of those teams got me any clean sheet points. So yeah, we'll see if that comes to fruition anytime soon.
It's all about the attacking returns. Like Pau Torres is on fire. Like
he is, yeah, and yeah, I appreciate you sold him, but if it helps, I know you mentioned then you like your stats. He's very much overperforming them from an attacking point of view. So
of course,
he's been lucky to get the 2 goals. And then you might have noticed Cash against Tottenham started on the right wing.
Yeah, but he got subbed, didn't he? At half time, just because he could have had a red card, right? So that was definitely let's not get a player red carded, right? So the next foul he did, he was going to get red carded, right? Because he had that early yellow and then had a few risky fouls after it. So shame about that. But you must have been pretty nervous when you saw where he was playing, like his position.
Yeah. As my first bench, I was like, it's Solanke all over again. He's going to get a double-digit return, and I'm snookered after all the love I give him. And I benched as soon as I bench him, bam! But no, I got away with it in the end. But yeah, they might come. But on there, so looking at the fixtures coming up from a defence point of view, I appreciate a lot of people will probably be looking at Cash, me and you included. I know we discussed this last week, and kind of thinking, you know what, maybe it's time for him to disappear. That game week 18, he's got a nice fixture. I believe he's at home to Luton, if I'm not mistaken. No, he's not. Is it Luton? So he's got. It is an easy fixture. Sheffield United, I think it is. But prior to that, we've just run through the fixtures. They're terrible. So yeah, I suppose that's the question. Are you looking to sell Cash yourself? Have you got other? I appreciate you've got the Eze injury, but if you didn't, would Cash be on your exit list?
Yeah, I'd be looking to exit Cash just because I think there's cheaper players that are better, right? So looking here, Michelle's is kind of better for Newcastle, right? Botman, if he's back, is better. Chelsea's an interesting one because Cucurella played instead of Colwell, didn't he? So that's interesting. Whether rotations kind of exited, but you could say there's Chelsea defenders imminently that are going to be better. So yeah, I think that there's alternatives to kind of Cash. I'm probably going to move him like the next game week or game week after because I'll look to. I'm not desperate. I can bench him. Like for me, I'm quite happy because I've got Gabriel and Saliba who are going to play most game weeks, despite not appearing on this fixture ticker. They do have some good fixtures. I imagine if you stretched it for one game week or condensed it for one game week, they'd be looking pretty good. And I've got Simicast, who I think will be good for the next 3 for Liverpool, so Fulham, Sheffield United, Palace. So I've got my starting 3 defenders, right? So I'm quite happy. So
Absolutely. I think you're right. I think Arsenal, same as you, 2 Arsenal defenders who'll just sit in that team. This week, we'll find out a little bit later on, but you'll see Burnley are on here. Sheffield United at home. Now we've both got Charlie Taylor, I believe.
Yeah.
So if you're not going to play him this week, you're never going to play him. So we'll find out if we are later on. Well, yeah, I know what you mean. Cash is on my exit list. As I said last week, my love affair with him is very much come to an end. I'm ready to jump off. And this is how people have performed in the last 6 weeks. Now, a
Mhm.
lot of the players on here are more expensive than Cash. Now, I've had him since the start of the season. I can sell him for 4.8. I appreciate some people can probably sell him for 4.9, maybe even touching into 5 million. Is the who's kind of jumping out to you? But if you can get to Trippier, obviously that's probably where you're going to go. But the likelihood of that is very slim. So who's
Um,
jumping out at you with the ones that are achievable?
Lascelles, because he's 4.1 and his expected FPL points since game week 8 is 27 points, give or take. So he's like, really up there. So if Botman's out, he stands out. And we know like Newcastle was a top 3 defense. Arsenal, City, Newcastle, they're the best 3 defenses. So nailed into that defense. I think that's a good bet. Pedro Porro has looked good, right? I think he was very unlucky not to come out with a haul. The problem is that our Spurs going to keep clean sheets, but he's second in that list, and he expected FPL points this game week 8, 30.29. So only Trippier is higher. So it's the usual candidates. Pedro Porro, like Trippier is obviously the best. We all know that. Porro stands out. Zinchenko's interesting because when he plays, he gets points, but like, is he going to play every game? I think it's a bit of a risk. We got Saliba there, so we know we've spoken about Arsenal defense. We've spoken about Newcastle defense, Lascelles and Shearer there. So I mean, I'm surprised at Pau Torres being fourth with 30 expected points since game week 8. So I brought him in game week 8, but I think I got one attack in return from him, so I should be happy. I didn't see those points.
Which, as I say, his expected goal data is 1 goal, and he's got 2, so he's been fortunate to get the second.
Unlucky with his clean sheets though, so it evens itself out.
True.
Yeah,
True.
so I don't think it's surprising there. So I think like Lascelles seems to be like pretty obvious if you don't have him. Elsewhere, I wouldn't go Pau. Like I'm looking at prices below Cash, right? So I wouldn't go Torres. I wouldn't go Michaelenko. Pinnock maybe, but Lascelles is the one below Cash's price that you'd go for.
So you've always taught me this is the past. Here's your predicted points now. It is longer table than usual because there was a couple of things that I saw on the longer list that interested me. So Cash is 12th on the list. So there's from the fixes data, there's 11 defenders that should do better than him. Few again under his price. So Simicast is on there, Lascelles is on there, who you mentioned, Pau Torres, Digne. I'm interested in Pinnock. So he's got that blank in game week 18, which which automatically drops his overall points down. If he didn't have that blank, he'd probably be 4th, 5th on the list.
Yep.
So I don't think. Do you think he's worth it, or do you think? But here's my question for you: like, I'd look at that as a top 100,000, like finish about 100,000 mark player, and think, sack the blank. I'll just bench the guy and I'll play him in game week 14, 16, and 19. Where as somebody who finishes in the top 10,000, how do you look at that? Do you see that blank and think I need to stay away altogether?
No, it depends on your team, doesn't it? So I've got Mbumo and Haaland. They're going to be benched in game week 18. I'm quite happy with that. So it depends on your wider squad. However, I know it doesn't apply for your team because you got Lascelles, but like I look at that and think, Lascelles is better than him, right? He's cheaper with better expected kind of like points. So same goes for Simicast, right? So it seems like there's better options than Pinnock, but like so I don't know where you'd fit him in. If you're thinking you got 5 defenders, let's say you got one super cheap defender, Charlie Taylor, or what's his name from Sheffield United, Baldock. Yeah. This is why FPL is a game of luck. There's been other good players this game week that some Bowen doesn't play because they've missed like the thing, and Baldock comes on for an assist. So like obviously it's a game of skill in it. But Baldock, or let's say you got Baldock or Charlie Taylor, which I think the team structure you'd want one of them because they're so cheap. Then you've got double Arsenal defense, right? and those are two of your
Yeah.
starters. You got two spots left. Lascelles seems to be like a no-brainer, doesn't he? Like a Newcastle defender, whether it's Lascelles or Cher or someone else, seems to be a bit of a no-brainer. Then it's like, oh, who do you want then? Like, so yeah, I don't think there's room for Pinnock.
No, I'd say I'm looking at it and thinking he's only behind Simicast and Lascelles for expected points because of the blanking game week 18. But I know
Well,
you mean.
it's blank. Who was he going to play in game week 18?
Yeah, that was a clean sheet against Man City. That's what that was. That was expected points of 6. That's what he was getting.
So yeah, his expected points there would have been 2, right?
Granted, expected 2 points. Yeah. So it jumps up to about Lascelles' level.
Yeah.
But yeah, Lascelles is 0.5 million cheaper and playing for the better defensive team. Yeah. It's so your answer to this basically is other question is who's the safe budget friendly pick? You're playing Lascelles.
Yeah, Pinnock is good. I do like him, but like I think there's better options at the moment compared to Pinnock, especially when you got like valuable transfers and don't waste them. Don't make my mistake and just do a transfer for the sake of it.
Do you not worry with Lascelles and Simicast, both the same, where there will be a point, whether it be in 2 weeks or a month, 6 weeks, where you're going to have to book in a transfer to get rid of them?
It's a problem when that happens, isn't it?
Okay. There you go. That's not what I'd be thinking too much on it and thinking, well, I don't want to bring them in because I'm going to have to get rid of them. So
If
there you go.
you got 5 defenders, new. So like I mean, you have if they suddenly get benched, you've got a bench to cover them. So yeah, I don't worry about that too much.
Chucky. I need rid of Chucky. We both need rid of Chucky because he's an absolute waste of space.
Yeah,
We've only got 14 players. This is the attack. So I've also seen, similar to last week, a lot of people thinking, right, Son's time is done. Not just Son, but other midfield options that obviously a lot of people that bought in Eze need to deal with that situation. So yeah, this is the attacking fixture. Now, I know you're going to bring in Willian after his brace, right? Fulham at top of the fixture. He's got 2 goals. Who are you selling to get him?
Yeah, it's a nice run there, especially game week 15 onwards. Once you get rid of the Liverpool game, that is a nice little run. Man, there's a few options now. Like last couple of weeks has been like, yeah, it's pretty poor reading, but there's lots of fantasy relevant teams here. So you got He Chan from Wolves, who's now on penalties, and like they're still continuing to look pretty good, actually. So he was definitely the cheaper midfielder of choice, actually. I think when we were doing wild cards, I know I went Gordon, and you went Gibbs White. Chan is probably the kind of best one. But yeah, kind of Chelsea there with Palmer and Sterling looking good. They got that right Sheffield United at home fixture game week 17, which is like super exciting. Forest, as you said, you got to keep them for this run up until at least game week 19. That's looking good. Arsenal looking good for Saka as well. Liverpool, I'm happy I've got Nunez and Salah. So yeah, there's some fantasy relevant teams there, which is pretty exciting. I'm not going to talk about Newcastle. I get Newcastle they're looking good, especially game week 17 to 19, and they Fulham, Luton, Forest. That's all about Isak. Gordon won't do anything.
Yeah. Now, not to break my thought process, and we'll come on to it. But that Liverpool to Newcastle little swing there. Fulham, Sheffield United, Palace, followed by Fulham, Luton, and Nottingham Forest. I quite like that. I'll touch more on that shortly when we do my
I'm thinking the same
thinking.
thing as you. I'm thinking the same move as you potentially.
It looks pretty good. But before we get onto that, attacking options. So mid and forwards again. This is the form, and the next page will show us the predicted points. But this is since game week 8. Now again, it's a little bit longer than usual, primarily just to get Solanke on there, because he's still frustrating me. So it'd be good to just kind of get your thoughts around him. But more to the point, Mbeumo is number 4, despite the fact in that fixture list he had played Liverpool and Arsenal. Now his fixture swing.
Mm-hmm.
Is he back to being a must?
Yeah.
Yeah. Done.
I know you got time pressures today as well, so I'll keep it short and sweet. Yeah.
No, 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 no. You speak away. My wife can get a bus home. It's not a problem. She never. Don't feel bad. She never picks me up from the train station. Don't worry about it.
There we go. But yes.
I will get her. Don't worry.
He
I
feels
will
like
get her.
essential. Yeah.
I'm only kidding. Yeah. So yes, he is a must. He is a must. And then you mentioned obviously Kwang. He's sixth on the list. Wolves are second on the attacking ticker.
Hmm.
He's only 5.6 million.
Yeah.
Could he be? You've got the Eze problem. Could he be the obvious move?
He should be. Yeah. Like he didn't come to my mind, but like yeah, I've got to consider him based on those fixtures and based on how he's performed recently. He's on penalties now as well, so yeah, he's got to be in my consideration. I mean, really, his table is a table of who takes penalties though. Right?
Yeah, still
Salah does that, the
absolutely.
kind of top expected FPL points. And then Haaland next, he does. Palmer does, and Bumo does. He hasn't had any recently, but like he is on penalties. Willian, he
It's just
takes
Watkins, isn't
penalties.
it?
Yeah, he can. Yeah, you have to go all the way down to Watkins and Son.
Yeah,
Son takes penalties, but Spurs haven't had a penalty yet. But yeah, got to go down to Watkins and Darwin like before you have a non-penalty taker. So yeah, packing your team full of those guys, as we say every game week, is not
get
a
the
bad
pen
idea.
takers.
Hmm.
On the predicted points, again, the norms: Salah, Haaland, Son, right at the top.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Darwin has appeared for the first time on this list. So maybe the algorithms kind of figured, okay, he's probably going to get more assured minutes. He seems to be starting in the number 9 for Liverpool, and it's kind of picking up. So he's got some nice expected points.
No, definitely.
You've got
I
the
mean,
double up
he'll always be there.
already.
He'll be a minutes thing. I think that the algorithms have like
Yeah,
clocked on that. He's the start in 9. He's going to start 5 games in 9, in 6, and then when he plays, he's going to play near enough 90. I mean, I really wish
yeah,
that as well. Obviously, I went Darwin because I was calling it. I wish sounds like selfish and bitter, but I wish people who copy algorithms like to the T, they take them super literally. I wish they got punished for not going with him because like he still is on some algorithms and way down because of expected minutes of 50. Like he's the starting striker. Yeah, that was a shame. That was a shame. I wish people got punished for that. But oh
what's
well.
happened?
But like,
He's,
um,
he's only 17% owned or something. So there's every chance he can
no,
still get punished.
true. Well, he's not had that. I think his biggest return was like he's returned most weeks, but it's always been like 5 or 6 points, right? So yeah, he still hasn't had
He's been a
that big haul.
Saka.
Yeah, he's a Saka. Yeah, exactly. And Saka was probably the alternative people went for, right? Some people went
Yeah.
Archer and Saka. Some people went Carney and Darwin, right? So it's a bit of bite for bite, really. But yeah, interesting table here. I mean, the 3 candidates you'd expect up top of there: so Salah, Haaland, and Son. Isak is interesting, very interesting. And what's interesting there is game week 17 to 19. So you've got a 6-week game week window there. Yeah, that looks a lot better actually. From game week 14 to 16 it looks good, but then game week 17 to game week 19 looks excellent, right? And I know he has a good run thereafter. So he's one to watch, especially if Wilson continues to be out. Then it's all the other usual candidates, right? Saka, Watkins, Odegaard. I think he's a bit too kind of like highly rated by algorithms, so I ignore him for the time being. Darwin, Martinelli, Diaby. Yeah, there's no surprises there really. I think Isak is the one who stands out there. It's like, oh, that's a interesting little swing there.
Yeah. But now, so all of these are more expensive than Eze, obviously on the predicted list. So Diaby is obviously the easiest one to get to, but it's a shame nobody on there that is Eze price or under. But from the looks of the
Well, Eze
form
might
of
have
the
been on
team,
there. Like if he's just injured now.
yeah,
So it's like,
true.
um,
So it's we'll touch on it though because we'll be coming onto your team to see who you may be going for. But as always, we've got to talk about who are the captain options. So it's not that obvious this week because
well,
you've got a Tottenham team going to Manchester City. Now, some people might look at that and go, "Well, Tottenham are absolutely horrendous defensively," and yes, they are. But you've also got a Mohamed Salah at home to a Fulham, who aren't exactly the best horrendously. So, looking at the algorithm and what Fixer give us, they're seeing it as very close. Haaland 7.6 points expected, Salah 7.5. Just going to read some stats to you. Tell me which way you reckon this is going to go. Haaland expected goals involvement per 90 this season has been a 1.16.
Wow.
Playing a spare side, expected goals conceded per 90 of 1.58. Salah, expected goal involvement per 90, has dropped. It's down to 0.97. But he's got a Fulham defence with an expected goal conceded per 90 of 1.84. I'm going to assume you're not captaining anybody else. Which of the two are you going for?
I'm on Salah for the time being, but yeah, it's super tight. Probably the toughest captaincy decision we've had all season. But I'm on Salah for the time being, just because they're already weighted in terms of these algorithm stats, right? But like, yeah, the clean sheet bonus, the extra point for scoring a goal, they do weight in his favour, in my opinion. So yeah, and I think Fulham are a worse team than Spurs, and I do think Liverpool are better going forward than Man City. So yeah, and bear in mind as well, actually, it's irrelevant. I was going to say there's the Champions League fixture congestion, but like, yeah, City will probably already be qualified right by then. So
yeah, Haaland's playing though. He started.
Yeah, but I think, where are they in the group now? If they draw this one, they should be through, shouldn't they?
Yeah, they're pretty much through. So yeah, he'll get rested the second game.
So yeah,
but it's
ignore
Premier
that.
League next midweek.
Yeah, I think yeah, I'm Salah just was tight.
I'll be surprised if Salah plays on Thursday. They don't seem to use him in the Europa League unless they need to.
He won't play.
So he won't. I doubt he'll play. So he'll be more rested. But I'm with you. I'm going Salah. I think at home against Fulham, there's just. I mean, I can see City beating Newcastle Spurs 3-0 if I'm honest, but I can see Liverpool beating Fulham 3-0 as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's 50-50, but maybe I'll flip a coin on Saturday morning and see where it ends up. But I'm with you at the minute. I'm sticking. I've got to go with Salah. But yeah, don't be surprised if that changes. But on to questions for Matt. Your favourite. How the audience gets to put you under pressure. And for those eagle-eyed amongst us, you'll see that the submissions this week have come from our friend FPL Thomas Jones. You've also got Sauce FPL, and then there's an at FPL Corbs. The question from at FPL Corbs is, why would you sell Gordon for Eze?
Classic FPL Corps. What they dickheads. Why would I sell Gordon for Eze? That is the question.
You don't have to answer it really. I appreciate you submitted the question yourself, but you can answer it if you want to.
So yeah, my thinking there was going into game week 14. I couldn't see a strong transfer for me, so I'd be like, I don't want to burn a transfer in game week 14. So let's make a short term punt that gives me a bit of upside. So yeah, I was looking at Gordon. I didn't rate his chance against a strong Chelsea team, an okay Manchester United team, and then I forget the third fixture. But I thought Eze had better fixtures short term. Like, if you're looking at it in one game week in isolation, Luton away is better than Chelsea at home. Right? I don't think anyone can deny that. And Eze had better underlying stats, so his non-penalty expected goal involvement per 90 was quite a bit higher than Gordon's. And then also Eze has more routes to a goal, so he is on penalties. He is on all set pieces. So I thought over the next 3 game weeks he was going to do well, and then it would be a very convenient move to someone like Palmer in game week 16, game week 17. So yeah, that's kind of why I did it. Which it was definitely a luxury transfer. I didn't have to make that move, but I kind of did it. What kind of like frustrated me is I was very aware of Newcastle performing better at home versus away. They're one of these teams that there's quite a difference, and I actually ran a bit of a stats check on Gordon, and like all of his returns bar one have come in his home games. So I knew he had Chelsea and United at home, but I was thinking that those are tough fixtures. So yeah, bit of a mistake. We moving up.
I'm not convinced it was. I know hindsight's a wonderful thing, but I wouldn't be that harsh. I'm not convinced it was a mistake. It made sense to do it, right? Um,
Yeah.
Talk about Palmer. You were talking about potentially doing it as in, give him the 3 game weeks, move him out for Palmer. FPL Thomas Jones question. Let's jump onto that because he is wondering thoughts on actually dodging Palmer and going for Sterling. What do you think?
It's a tough one, isn't it? Like Palmer's performance is really overrated and hot at the moment because of those penalties, right? So I'm not expecting the levels of returns he's had recently because I don't think he scored a goal, has he? Outside of penalties, he scored 4 goals, but 4
Yes,
have been
not.
from pens. However, his non-penalty expected goal involvement has been really strong, especially from assists. I think it's like borderline 0.6 per 90. So it's been really good, really, really good. That's in line with a lot of other kind of great players, really. And then he does have penalties, so I think he's a strong asset. And I'm a little bit nervous about potential rotation risks, but I think the same would apply for Sterling, really. So comparing like for like, I think Sterling is more explosive and will probably score more points, I think, just because of his like proven
Yeah,
pedigree. Like you said early in the season, put some respect on Sterling. He's scored a lot of goals in the Premier League, right?
yes.
So yeah, Sterling, I think will kind of like outscore him just and will be slightly more nailed on. However, is it worth the 2 million plus difference in price? That's where it's key. Would you let's play
Yeah.
around with some like combos? Would you rather Trippier and Palmer versus Share and Sterling?
Well, I've just looked at the goal involvement per 90. Sterling's is 0.41. Palmer's
Oh,
is
okay.
0.87.
Well, with
I know he's
penalties, I
got
think.
pens.
Yeah,
Yeah, but Sterling likes to win a penalty, right? Who's going to take it? Well, Palmer's going to take it.
yeah. It's a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah,
I'd say no. I think you can do a lot of that extra cash.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So just go with Palmer.
yeah.
To be fair to Tom or Thomas, sorry mate, if you call Thomas and I'm calling you Tom, but he's basically said, yeah, he knows Palmer's got the better underlying stats. He's just tempted with Sterling on that left wing, but it's a close one. But Palmer's where you'd lean. Sauce FPL. Now he must have had a week like you because his question is all about doing the right transfer, but it not paying off. So he's claimed it's a bad transfer. He wants to know, how do you react to a bad transfer?
Ooh. Very nearly delete my team. um, how do I react to a bad transfer? Um, yeah, just move on. Move on. Move on.
Just get over it.
I think there's a difference between making a genuinely bad transfer and getting a bad outcome. So I think honestly, yeah, Gordon's as a 50-50 toss up, but I think with decision the info at the time, it was a okay move. It was a valid logic there. So I can't hate myself on that. Like I can take the piss out of myself and say, shame on me for not predicting as it was going to get injured, but that's like a freak event. You can't predict that sort of stuff. So I've put that down to luck. So yeah, unlucky. I'll laugh it off and I'll kind of move on and whatnot. When you make a genuinely bad move, like I think then you can just think of, just put it down as a learn, right?
Yeah.
Um, so like a genuine, I've done some bad moves. Like so, like last season, I took out. I'm just gonna go back to something I always kind of like go back to, just because like the amount of points I lost from this move was probably about 100 plus if I tallied up over kind of like game weeks. But I got rid of Harry Kane and Bruno Fernandes for Isaac and Salah late last season when there was like some rumors that Fernandez could be out, but there was nothing beyond an Instagram picture on his wife's wife's story, right? So that was a bad decision, right? Because I took 2 great assets out both on penalties in a bit of a speculative move, right? So that's me just cocking up. So with that sort of thing, I'd be like, yeah, I'm not going to do that again.
Yeah. But yeah, as you say, there's a difference between a bad transfer and one that doesn't pay off.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And a genuine
Yeah.
bad mood. And I think you just got to have patience as well. So like the worst thing people do is, oh my god, I've taken a player out. It's a bad move because like whoever I removed, they scored, and the person I got in, they blanked and whatnot, and then they take hits to rectify it. Is just like play it calm.
Yeah. And then they bring on the one I did, the one when I sold Alma on the week he bagged a brace and then he scored every week for about 15 months.
Oh yeah.
That's the one that hurt me last season. But moving on to transfer question of the week. So we've kind of touched on the Arsenal defence and how good it is. FPL Woodsy, thank you for sending in the question. He is on the sell Matty Cash bandwagon, the right bandwagon to be on. He'd love Saliba, can't get there budget wise. So if you had to pick out a Gabriel and Zinchenko, which one are you going for and why?
Probably Gabriel, and the reason behind that is I think he just has better expected minutes. And that's just a personal opinion, right? I know they've both had their rotations like throughout the year, but yeah, I think Gabriel was slightly more nailed. I know White is back now, isn't he? So that could mean Tomiyasu or others could play left back. Could mean Gabriel as a rotation risk, right? But yeah, my personal view is I just think Gabriel and Saliba are good centre back pairing. I think they'll be a slightly more nailed on.
Yeah.
What do you
He's
reckon?
0.2, I think he's 0.2 cheaper as well, 0.2
Yeah,
million.
yeah, that's an added, but that's an added bonus. And I was going to say he has good goal threat, but this year he hasn't really had much. Like last year, he was like looking quite threatening from corners. Less so this year though. Yeah, I'd go Gabriel. I'd go back Gabriel.
Yeah, I'd agree, but purely because he's got me a clean sheet this week, so I feel he's in the good books.
If you had
But
Zinchenko,
yeah,
you'd have got 9 points, right?
yeah, we don't need to talk about that. Don't worry about that one. We'll move on. I'll take him a 6. I won't be greedy. But it brings us on to Matt versus Dave. Now we've had a first in this. For the first time this season, it's been a draw. Now I don't think any of us were made up
Wow.
with our
Okay.
picks. Appreciate you. We let you off with a Z because you didn't have him when you picked him as one of your picks. You were unfortunate because he got injured, so he ended up on 1 point. Bernardo Silva decided to take a booking for me, so that was unfortunate. And do you remember the conversation I had? It was like, this is why I'm going for Paqueta over Kudus. Yeah, what a terrible decision that was. So and you were unlucky with Solanke. You know, he had over 0.6 goal involvement. He scored 3 goals. He'd usually be involved, but he wasn't. So 3 points across the board.
Yeah, I'm not very good at this, are we?
We've done all right. This is the first week none of our players have got an attack and return, as far as I'm aware. Which
No.
so
True,
that's not
true.
too bad. But yeah, the 3 points each. So we'll quickly move on from those scores and pick our game week 14. So we don't need to remind ourselves about this terrible week. I get to go first because it's evens, and I'll start with an Arsenal player who's playing a very depleted Wolves side due to injuries and suspensions. Gabriel Jesus is 2.3% owned. He's back. He played
Mm,
65 minutes against Brentford. He had expected goal involvement. Oh, sorry, expected goals, not even goal involvement, of 0.51 against a much better defensive side than Wolves. He was also away. This week he's going to be at home. So, long story short, Gabriel Jesus is my first pick.
I like it. No, he's definitely the pick of the options. More than to you.
I can't believe he's 2.3% owned. But I suppose he had that injury straight off the bat, so maybe a lot of people
He's been
didn't get
injured.
him in.
I
Yeah.
do like that Arsenal game, so I'm going to go for. I'm going to be boring. And probably with both my picks, I'll be boring. I'm not going for attacking returns. I'm going to keep it back to basics. Let's get some clean sheets. I know they've been rare this year, but yeah, I'm going to go for a 4.4% owned David Raya.
David Raya. Lethal off corners. Yeah. Comes up, not to win. Hey,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Well,
I don't know whether you watched the Arsenal game, but Ramsdale's not getting that number one jersey back. I know he kept a clean sheet, but absolutely horrendous.
yeah, I hope not. But yeah, I'm going Raya. A little bit risky, but yeah, Raya.
Yeah. Okay, Raya. Well, I'm going attacking again, so I'm assuming you're not going to pick my second. Left field, mate. I picked the safe one in Gabriel. I'm going to have a bit of fun with the second one. That much fun. He is 0.2% owned.
Yeah.
So like nobody's got him. Um, he just scored last game week against West Ham. He started and playing 90 minutes with the Foster injury. You know who it is based on that. It is J. Rodriguez. I'm looking at that
Nice.
fixture and I'm thinking, if Burnley are going to get a win, surely this is the week. He's going to be the starting striker. Sheffield United's defence isn't up to much.
Hmm.
You know, if he can scrape me a goal or two, I'll be fairly happy.
Don't fancy Brownhill.
I considered it. But no. I'm assuming. I might be wrong, but I'm assuming Rodriguez will be the penalty taker. I'm assuming
I have no. Yeah, he must
with
be right.
Foster injured.
Surely. Yeah, surely.
You'd think, but he's just going to be closer to goal. And maybe a bit of Premier League nostalgia when everybody used to have him back in the
Yeah.
day. Him and Danny Ings were the big two. Cheap strikers, Charlie Austin sort of type of frame. So
Uh,
yeah, bit of nostalgia maybe, but yeah,
going
Jesus
retro.
is getting paired with Rodriguez.
Nice. Yeah, your duo looks a lot better than mine. So I've got David Raya, and I'm going to go for a 3.8% owned defender against Luton in Ethan Pinnock. You
I'm a big
inspired
fan,
me.
as
You
you can
charmed
tell.
me. You charmed me earlier with
Yeah,
those expected points, right? What do you have? Like five
hooked you into
expected points?
that. Yeah, I think it was. Let me go back. Tell you, let's see what he's on. He's expected to pick up 4.9 this game week.
So they're
So
predicting
that's
a
not bad.
better than Trippier. Yeah, I'll take that. That's they're expecting a bullet header
Yeah,
and from Pinnock. So yeah, I'll go for Pinnock.
he's doing all right. Not too bad at all. I'll tell you what, he's expected to get more points than Jay Rodriguez. I'll tell you that much. So it might pay off for you. But so it's Jesus. So it's attacker versus defense. Jesus and
Yeah,
Rodriguez against Pinnock and Raya. Okay.
let's do it.
On to the last part, which is looking at our teams. So let's see what you want to talk me out of here because I'm starting to get into that mold of let's go with some gambles. So
Mm,
you might need to calm me down. Um, quite happy with the team. For those of you that are listening as opposed to watching, just to run through the team I've got for game week 14. Ariola in goal. He's at home to Palace. My double Arsenal defence, Gabriel and Saliba, both are home to Wolves. And then I'm
mm,
playing Charlie Taylor. He's at home to Sheffield United. As I said before, if he's not getting a clean sheet this week he's not going to get one all season. And the other two options I've got for defence are Matty Cash away at Bournemouth and Lascelles at home to United. I don't know why. I fancy Taylor to get a clean sheet more than both. So that's the way I'm going. Might be a mistake, but that's what I'm rooting for. Across the midfield, currently Son away at City, Salah at home to Fulham with the armband, Saka at home to Wolves, and Gibbs White at home to Everton. And then we're starting three strikers: Solanke at home to Villa, Watkins away at Bournemouth, and then Haaland with the vice captaincy armband at home to Tottenham. Now, this is where I'm playing to attack. My potential moves I've listed on the right. I've got two free transfers. Didn't do one last week. I've got 0.5 million in the bank. I am considering very strongly Son and Solanke out, Mbumo and Darwin in. That is attacking the next group of fixtures. Mbumo's got Luton straight off the bat, and Darwin's got Fulham straight off the bat, but they've both got nice runs. What it'll also allow me to do, which we kind of touched on before, is in 3 games week time when Liverpool's really nice run comes to a close, is to move from him in game week 17 to a Toon or Chelsea striker. Likely is that
mm.
when the Newcastle fixtures swing. So I'm really leaning towards option one for long term planning. More importantly, it also gives me 1.7 million in the bank, which I can then do I can get Palmer in for Chukwuemeka, so it gives me back to 15 playing. Anyway, that's what I'm thinking. I can see you looking at it very sternly.
just thinking, mate. Just thinking. I mean, your team anyway looks really good. So, like the 11 you've got out looks pretty strong again. I hate to say that. Yeah, I like the first move actually, and I like the options it gives you. So, Son and Solanke to Mbumo and Darwin, and then that gives you a move to upgrade Chukwuemeka to Palmer, and then Darwin to Isak. Yeah, I like it. I like
Well,
it.
you're not talking me out of it. This is great.
I don't like Trenton. I think Trent is very overpriced, and Allison might be out, right? So,
Yeah. Now, just to pre-warn anybody that's listening who's going, "Oh, Kelleher is an absolute bargain. Let's get Kelleher in now that Allison's out." Let's just say a safe percentage of the season is 54%. Do not waste your money on Kelleher. Not worth it. No, good. And the other thought was, the team isn't bad at all. I quite like it. I'm not opposed to keeping Son. I'm not opposed to playing Solanke home to Villa. I could have moved Turner to Flecken to target those fixtures that Brentford have got. But yeah, I want to go for number one purely to attack it. I
yeah,
really like the look of Mbumo and Darwin for the next couple of weeks, more
yeah,
so than Son and Solanke.
yeah. Agree.
Frees up a bit
Like
of
it.
cash.
Like it.
Well, happy days. Let me see if I can talk you out of anything that you might want to do.
Yeah. So my team at the moment is Areola, Simicas, Saliba, Gabriel, and Mbumo, Eze, who's obviously injured, Son, Salah, captain against Fulham, Watkins, Darwin, and Haaland. And a bench of Strakowska, Cash, Taylor, and Chukwuemeka. So I guess I've got a decision to whether I play Taylor over Simicas. No, might be a bit tough. I mean, I think I'll probably bet on Simicas's. I think I'll keep Saliba and Gabriel just because I kind of rate the Arsenal defence really highly. Simicas, I think he's got a better chance of an attacking return, so I think I'll go for him. And Liverpool's defence have been pretty solid, right? So I think I'll go Simicas, but it will be a decision. Now, for me, I've got a couple of options. Like Eze's injured, right? I think he's been confirmed out for 3 to 4 weeks, so like he's going to be a problem. So I could just start Taylor, play 4 at the back, 3 midfield. That could be perfectly okay, right? I'll be quite happy with that. And then I've got 2 transfers going into game week 15, which is a nice position to do. Or the other option I'm really considering now is bringing in Palmer from Chelsea a little bit earlier. And partially this is because there's a nice game against Brighton at home. And I think from an attacking point of view, playing Brighton at home for Chelsea it's a nice game. Like Chelsea can be pretty attacking. Brighton, I think, they're a bottom half defence for sure. That's a nice game to attack. So I think if I was to move Eze on at the moment, I'm considering Palmer. I can't bring myself to bring him back in Gordon, and like he's just played 90 minutes against Paris Saint-Germain as of like the whole Newcastle starting lineup. They've all played the whole 90 minutes. So with no substitutions, right? So you'd like to think a bit of fatigue is going to kick in.
Yeah.
So yeah, if I move
What
Eze,
score was it?
He just scored.
What score was it? What did it finish? I didn't
I
see.
think it's 1-0, isn't it? Yeah.
It did. They finished 1-0. Fair play.
Yeah. Well, it's 97th minute now, so Isaac has scored. Before you're taking the mick again, there's like, hey, Gordon has just scored again. Another late game breakaway. But yeah, like, so for me, it's either Taylor starts instead of Eze, 4 at the back, and I roll a transfer, or more than likely it'll be Eze to Palmer. Quite a straightforward move. Gets ahead of the curve for those Chelsea kind of fixtures, and allows me to tack a nice home game week against Brighton. So yeah, that's what's on my mind. Not as glamorous or exciting as you, but you're just bringing the players I've already got. So
I'd say you've got Boomer, you've got Darwin. I really like those. I mean, you can see from those fixtures why I like them. Luton at home, Fulham at home look fantastic. And I've got the luxury of not having an injury to deal with in Eze, so it kind of forces your hand a little bit. I'm pretty sure without that, you'd be looking at something a bit more sexy. Maybe cash out for a really good like Pinnock, really sexy move like that. That'd be where you'd be at. But there you go. So Eze potential role. Otherwise, Eze for potential Palmer. Well, we'll see. We'll see in a couple of days what we do. As always, I imagine we'll both put it on our Twitter channels. Or X. Sorry, Elon for saying it wrong. On X, so you'll see our handles under our names on the left hand side. But yeah, appreciate your time, Matt. Thanks for joining us. Hopefully, you're not feeling too bad about the game week. You appreciate it wasn't a green arrow, but not a low red. I saw you were really annoyed on your Twitter when with what happened with Gordon and Eze, but it wasn't a bad week in the end, or as bad as it could have been, shall we say? And your team
You're
was
just
pretty
coming
good for
across
this
as
week.
patronising now.
Yeah, I didn't mean to. I really didn't mean to. I genuinely was being sincere.
I'd rather you just
You know,
be to the point and take the piss and rub it in. But no,
do you know what I
congrats on.
did?
Yeah.
Ready for this? I set this up, but I didn't play it. If anybody can't see, there's a banner going across the bottom that says, "Why would you sell Gordon for Eze? Mental." There you go. We'll end on that, just in case you decide not to come back next week. But on that point, there are midweek games. So the Premier League is back on Saturday, as it usually is. So we spoke about that one, but then there is midweek games on Tuesday night, kicking off at 7:30. Wolves versus Burnley. So we'll discuss stuff off the camera, but we'll have to discuss looking to do something for game week 15, maybe on Sunday or Monday. But hopefully we can get some time to chat that through and look at our plans. I hope you haven't got a busy weekend ahead. Otherwise, we might struggle, but we'll see. We can both be hungover for it. Don't worry. Yeah, we'll work it out. We'll be hungover. But appreciate you joining, as always, Matt. Appreciate your insight. Made up that you're fairly happy with the transfers I'm looking to do. So thank you for that guidance. But thank you for the listener as well, for being with us. As always, that's standard stuff. If you learned from us, you enjoyed it, please do give us a like, give us that subscribe. It does help us out. Just means other people can find us as well. And yeah, just good for us as well, and the algorithms and all that jazz. But hopefully you've learned a lot from us as well, and we will see you next week. Best luck for the game week ahead. Speak to you soon.